brother, man, say anew. Back out here on the nature trail. Like to hang out in foresty type places like this. No, it's a nice solitude that comes with this that I appreciate. Sometimes you want to get away from folks. Get away from people, get away from life, get away from the hustle, the bustle, everything. And look up and see green, you know what I mean? Take a deep breath and smell like clean, you know what I'm saying? There's a different life force out here in a place where there's a lot of green and trees, all of these are this is living stuff out here, so it just feels good. Before I get far off on that tangent, so I come here to talk about the Metu Neter, right? The Medu Neter Oracle by Nefaman, to be distinguished from Metu Neter, the ancient writing system of the ancient Kemetians. The Metu Neter is a book of spiritual development. It's a book that if you get involved, if you start to really understand what you're reading in that Metu Neter, then you're going to refer to that book many, many times throughout your life. And hopefully it'll get nice and beat up like my books, so you can show evidence that you've been in there. But the Metu Neter is a book of spiritual development. It teaches you the spiritual anatomy of man. It breaks down for you the different parts of God and of man, right? Dealing with the tree of life, right? The tree of life. Many people know the Kabbalistical tree of life. That's very popular. But what's not very popular is what it comes from, right? That Kabbalistical tree comes from the Pa'al Neteru, which is the original Egyptian tree, right? And, it's important to say things like that because, you want to know where things come from. People are ancestrally connected to these concepts, and, if they knew about that, then once you know about that, then you can take more ownership of it. So, hopefully it helps people to know that that tree of life came from ancient Egypt. So people that are connected to ancient Egypt need to be connected with that tree of life. So anyway, Metu Neter, what does it do? It gives you the tools, right? It gives you the tools to go inside your subconscious and start to tinker, start to, fixing things, right? You got memories, you got experiences that you have dealt with in the past that have produced conditionings within you. So the Metu Neter is going to identify those for you and show you how, meaning which spiritual aspect that you need to focus on to clean that up, to iron that out, to make that whole again, right? Whatever those conditionings are. Conditionings not only from living, but from, your astrology stuff. You know what I mean? You might be a Tehuti person who like to bark at people all the time. Well, you can, hopefully you identify that, right? Through meditation, right? And then go ahead and fix that. Do some Auset at that or something. You know what I mean? I'm just hypothetically speaking about the stuff, right? But yeah, through these tools, through understanding the mantras which live inside of our body, right? We speak mantras all the time, right? So there should be no fear of dealing with mantras. You say all the time. You say I was where we was you say that all the time. What are you doing? You're trying to get back to your center. Is the mantra to take you there to your center, and nobody ever had to tell you that. No matter what your culture is, you knew that, right? You never even thought about it yet. You knew that, right? Same thing with what's that all about? You do that if you're Hindu, Buddhist, Fiji Islands, wherever you come from on this earth, you go, why do you do that? Because is the wisdom center within you. That's how you access the wisdom center. This is the type of stuff that the Metu Neter is breaking down, letting you understand which parts of the spirit are connected to which mantras, right? Which and other things. You have colors, you have scents and oils, you have different things in life that fall up under that particular sphere that deals with whatever you're talking about. So Metu Neter is a book that classifies those things for you and allows you to understand what you're looking at when you're looking at life. Many times it's possible to see life acting as the oracle, just by understanding what correlates to what, right? Which different spheres of life, are being spoken about, when you see certain things in life, But that's a whole nother classroom. So you'll get a lot out of the tree of life. The Metu Neter, just by looking at that thing as a spiritual development book, right? You're not thinking about an oracle yet, right? You're not thinking about that. You're just dealing with the information. You're reading slow because it's been said that it's a hard read, right? People have referred to the Metu Neter as a hard read because it's written in an academic way. It's right brain information. A lot of, if you're heavily right brain, it's possible that you might have a little bit of a problem with the way it was written. Because again, it was written in a way, it's almost like a scholastic textbook, right? Very thoroughly breaks down the parts and how they set up and equate to the whole. And it's scientific, it's sequential. You got to use your left brain a little bit with this. I suggest that when you get to a point in the Metu Neter that you can't really fathom, put the book down. Put it down, go wash the dishes, go have a nap, go do something, meditate, go meditate. Actually the book teaches meditation, so many of us were introduced to meditation through the book. But if you don't have that, then do something else, go to sleep, then pick that book back up, and read it again, go over what it was that you didn't understand again after a long contemplation or a long absence. Step away, take months to read this book. Don't just try and read this book in a week. Don't just try and cram all the words in your head. Put the words in there till you get meaning from them, and that's how you grow to understanding with this book, right? So if you attend to the book that way, and then at the end you're going to be pleasantly surprised by the fact of an oracle. So I'm saying, don't approach the book as, oh yeah, I'm going to learn this Metu Neter oracle. You shouldn't do that. You should approach this book like, let me learn something about spirituality. And then the fact that you have access to an oracle is then going to be the icing on the beautiful cake, right? That's my suggestion. That's totally my suggestion, is to deal with it that way. Because and then what you find is that the instruction of the Metu Neter oracle is going to be instructions for your spirit, right? This Metu Neter oracle, if you're asking it the right questions, is nothing less than a spiritual counselor for your life. It's not just some random cards. It's not a fortune telling device. It's a spiritual counselor. It's your own very own Tehuti, who is telling you the whys behind your issues, your problems, your endeavors, the what's behind your endeavors, right? It's telling you which aspects of your spirit you're going to have to invoke to deal with this thing, whatever it is, successfully. I'll give you an example. I had a situation many years ago where it was a lost situation, right? I had ran into a cop who basically tried to subjugate me. He didn't know that I was studying a little bit about the law, and I knew some things. And he tried to tell me some things that wasn't true. I told him, I said, well, you know what, I could challenge that, if I could challenge that if this was the arena, but I won't. And I, went ahead and did what he told me to do. But, the whole thing was that, what he decided to do was take that as the challenge and try to get me for terroristic threats, saying that I challenged him. So, funny situation. So anyway, long story short, my reading for dealing with all of this was Heru Hetep. And what's funny is I had on all red that day. I had a cap with the eye of Heru on my cap. And, what was really funny is that when they pulled me out of the car, these guys took off my cap and they put it over my right eye as they cuffed me. So, it was a Heru set encounter, from the door, you know what I mean? And, I wasn't violent, I was very calm, but, they tried to take me to that place. But anyway, long story. So I knew that Heru was going to come up when I pulled the card. It came up, Heru Hetep. And so I did my Heru work, right? I did my meditations. One thing I knew is that I would be representing myself at court, right? Because that is the actual classroom that I was in. I was dealing with that renegade law, that law that they don't tell you about, that private citizen law, that away from the public law, that correct your status law. I was dealing with those types of things, and I was understanding about self-representation or presenting your case at court. And so I knew that that's what I would do. So, I was doing, the various things that I needed to do to deal with that. All along, I'm chanting my Heru. I'm getting up on Sundays at 6 o'clock. I'm pouring my libations. I'm doing my Heru work. Right? So now, it's the night before the case, and I had to change up some things on my judicial notice. So I was up all night, basically, dealing with the judicial notice, and it got to be about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I said, all right, I got to lay down at some point. So I laid down. I needed to get up and get out the door by about 7:15. So I laid down at 5 o'clock. So when I laid down, I remember seeing myself getting up in an hour. I said, I'm going to get up in an hour, I'm going to be rested, and I'm going to live this day successfully. When I got up, actually not when I got up, but when I woke up, I awoke in 1 hour to this tune. This tune was called Gold. If anybody knows that old group called Spandau Ballet, they used to sing True as Much as True. That's true. I don't know if y'all know. I don't know. My singing ain't too great, but they had a song called Gold. And the lyrics are, always believe in your soul. You got the power to know you're indestructible. Always believe it. You are gold. Like that, right? So this is what I woke up to on the morning of my court trial, right? Blaring in my head loud, and I hadn't heard that song for years. That was like back in the, early 90s, maybe 80s even. I'm not even sure. But the song was so long ago, I had totally forgot about it, and here it was screaming in my head. And gold is the metal for Heru, right? So Heru was telling me that he's with me. Heru was saying, I'm here, and that you are gold. he was saying that always remember your soul. Always, you got the power to know you're indestructible. And so I got up, and I was, doing my stuff, and I was putting on my frankincense as I, was up in the mirror. So I had the bottle of frankincense, and it kind of tipped on my shirt. Right? So now I got a whole stain of frankincense on my shirt. So I went to the bathroom, I patted it down, And so, so now what I have, though, is a strong frankincense scent that's with me, right? And, and I put on my suit, my tie, I had my Kemetic tie, you know what I mean? And I was representing. So I went to court, and I just can't describe to you the confidence that I had the whole way there, walking through the courtroom, walking through everything, walking through the courthouse. It's like I knew that my purpose would be done today, which is to get this case dismissed, and keep it going. And of course they're going to make that hard for you because they don't want people to know about that type of stuff. They don't want people to be presenting their own case in court. They want you to take a lawyer because the lawyer, once you do that, they have jurisdiction over you and they know that. But anyway, that's a long another story that we'll get into at some point. But so that's what it was. I walked in there as Heru. I presented my case. My whole vision was to see myself walking out of that courtroom smiling, and various peoples who were watching, the vision that after, you're supposed to, see the thing as if it was done. So when it was done, what would happen was I would leave and people would be saying, yeah, man, that was cool. That was good. That was, you did a good job, that type of thing. And sure enough, that's what it was. I went through, I went back and forth with the judge, went back and forth with the prosecutor, all of them. Eventually the judge threw the thing out, and, he had questions for me about, what I learned and all of that stuff. And it was a great day. It was a total example of Heru Hetep, which is what I got from that reading. So I bring this story to you to let you know that that's the type of stuff that we're talking about when we're dealing with the Metu Neter. That's what the Metu Neter will help you to do. It will help you to access, it will help you to identify which aspect of your spirit is at work in any endeavor, and how to be successful in that endeavor through dealing with that aspect of God's spirit. Alright? So, that's Metu Neter. Thought I should, give a little insight, because, I see a lot of people talking about Metu Neter, but they're not talking about this, and so, hopefully that, gives you something to do. I'll put the link to the Metu Neter in the box down there, and, yeah, if this has helped you at all, give me a like, write a comment, do something to help my algorithms, help this thing blow up for me. Alright? So peace and love, y'all. I'm going to be back.